You're listening to the LaRocque Life Podcast, where hosts Michael and Laura explore relationships, adventure, freedom, and just some all-around real and raw conversations. Drawing from their 17 years together with a bit of sarcasm, humor, tears, a few and lots of love. They deep dive into the male and female perspective on relationships and navigate the highs and lows of life together. Sit back, grab your love mug, and let's get into today's conversation.
Episode 29. Here we are. Oh, babe. What are we talking about today?
Okay, so today, if you are feeling lack in any area of your life, uncertainty, feeling any lack in your life because of the uncertainty of tomorrow, and really like feeling fear or feeling stuck, stagnant in your relationship is kind of our overall theme. But I mean, it falls into every episode because we're always giving you tips for that. But we're going to talk today about the quickest way to shift your attitude and really sinking into what you have already, what you already have.
Okay. No, that's deadly. I like it.
And it's funny because when we were talking about a title for this episode, I was like, I think I told you something different. But then when I was typing it out, I was like, free and available anywhere. And then I was like, relationship podcast. That could really go in.
I know. It's like, do you copy and paste from your Tinder fucking app or what?
Free and available anywhere. Gratitude.
Yeah. Down for it.
Get your mind out of the gutter.
No, that's deadly. I like it. That's awesome.
So, yeah, we just wanted to talk quick on gratitude. And we have done episodes on gratitude before. I think in season 1, of course, like we talked about gratitude.
Yeah, and it's a buzzword, right? And it's catchy and everyone talks about it as well. But
yeah, but
it's important.
I think that it's important to continually talk about, especially in relationship, especially in the times that we're in right now, because everything is so uncertain and because like there is so much fear and there's so much division. And it's just so easy to fall into that trap of lack and that trap of fear. I mean, I'll say fear again. I've said it 100 times already and we just started, but like there's so much fear floating around, right? Like you turn on the TV, you turn on the radio, you go out in public, like you literally step out of your house.
Talk to anybody, yeah.
You talk to somebody, yeah. Like there is just so much fear. And so I think once we're in fear, actually, I know once we're in fear, it's so easy to live in that state and to fall down that trap of lack.
And just snowball.
Mm-hmm.
It happens everywhere.
Exactly.
Like, yeah. Work, home, everything. It just snowballs. Negativity is so easy.
Yeah.
It's a magnet and it just attracts more of it and it just fucking goes and goes. And,
yeah. And I mean, for those of you who are listening, you probably already know that my favorite word is love, like the love mugs. I have a whole love collection around it, but that's I
got 2 love tattoos, I think.
You have 2? Oh yeah, you do have 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one just for you. And then I got one on my head.
Right.
Anyway, carry on.
So the opposite of fear is love, right? And some people may say faith, but faith, love. So I think that the quickest way to tap into your heart space, into your love space, is through gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason that we're talking about it too, I mean, in a relationship podcast, is because not only are we here to help you be your best version of yourself to bring to your relationship, but then also each other, right? To be grateful for each other. Because I know some couples listen to this together and some people just listen alone. But so everything that we bring to you, we want you to be able to do on your own. But if you're a couple listening to this too, like to brainstorm together ways that you can implement things into your life to deepen your relationship, right? And to evolve together. And so coming to this place of gratitude again, which, as we said, we've talked about before, but again, it's something that needs to be continually reminded of because we're continually fed the fear. So we got to continually be fed the love and the gratitude and that shift from like fear to joy, right? Fear to love, fear to happiness. And so one of the easiest ways to do that is to focus on what we do have. And so I think we should tap into that a little bit more because you just said like it's such a buzzword, right? And it is. And some people think gratitude. And it's like, oh yeah, I have a gratitude list and I write down 5 things or I think about 5 things that I'm grateful every morning or every night before I go to bed. But
Which
it's
is
like,
great.
It is great. But my question for you would be, how's that working for you?
Right.
Right. Because I've done that before. I've been there where you're just like, I wrote my gratitude list out before I went to bed, but I still don't really feel any different. But the reason is because gratitude is a feeling. It's a frequency. It's something that you need to like feel in the cells in your body. And it's not just a logistical thing where you're just like, I'm grateful for the power, the lights, my husband, and just like listing 20 things off, 5 things off even. It's like really sinking into what you're grateful for and why you're grateful for it. That helps like create that emotion, right? Everything is a frequency and it's based off an emotion. So we want to create that emotion within ourselves because then that's the frequency that we emit, right? And when we're grateful for something and we emit a frequency that's of a higher vibration, then that's what comes back to us, right? And so if we bring that into just this uncertain time of life where maybe you're afraid of lack of money or, running out of a job or, your industry crashing, not having child's care and then not knowing what you're going to do with your kids while you do work and juggling and shuffling all that, or the strain that it's going to put on your relationship, maybe because of those things that I just said, or even just because you're so anxious and fearful of what's to come or uncertain of what's to come, that then you're taking it out on your partner and you guys are getting more frustrated with each other or growing further apart, right? So focusing in on this frequency of gratitude. I think that's actually maybe what we should change the title to, is the frequency of gratitude.
What are you talking about? Free and available in the back alley is not good?
Free and available anywhere.
Yeah.
The frequency of gratitude.
No, that's awesome. It makes so much sense. And you hit a lot of points with that. And it all, especially in this time, right? And we always turn against the person, or we like against you, or you take it on your kids, or you take it on your partner. And even growing up, like when you're in those awkward, like preteen, teenage years, you take it out generally on your mom or something like that. Right. And it's usually the person that loves you most that, I don't know, like maybe that's knowing, or an innate knowing that generally they won't leave you, or you can kind of take out those frustrations and not, but fuck, you make them feel so bad and then just carry on like nothing happened. But again, that's another topic for another show. But even just being grateful for those people in your life and being grateful for them sticking around through all the shit. I forget that, right? And especially as a somewhat grown up man, forget all the shit that you put like your parents through, and your mom, and your
parent is your mom. Your mom is your parent.
Well, I know, and your father, right? And then your dad, same thing. Depending how brave you were, how much you wanted to put them through. But and now, like going back and at this age, and I catch myself quite often, like even just driving or doing something, just thinking about my mom, right? Like, and wanting to talk to her, and just on a different level too. Yeah. And just being super grateful for her, just to have her around, and now to talk on a different level. Been doing it for years now, but just hearing her stories and like really listening to her and listening to her life. And, you hit that certain point where I don't have to turn to my mom for the answers anymore. She does have some good tidbits of things, but now we're kind of on a playing field of, I just like to talk to her and listen and try to not even help out, but we just talk, and it's a great thing. And I'm extremely grateful for that. And I wasn't always grateful for that. And it's very powerful. And I think that with Lennox all the time too. I'm like, man, I'm genuinely, like, I would tell him all the time how proud I am to be his dad. And I can't even express those in words, how, grateful, again, we say it a million times on here, but like how to express that to him is, you just can't, right? But again, like you said, it's just a feeling, and I feel it. And I really hope, or I think he is, or I know he is he's getting that, like he gets that. You can feel people's energy, right?
Yeah, and that's what I was just going to say. That's why when you create the feeling within yourself, whether you are just expressing it or having a conversation with your mom, let's say, or your partner, or some like a coworker, your friends, your family, while you're having that conversation with them, you are feeling that emotion, and that is what, like, they're going to feel it too. It's energy. They're going to receive your energy, and they're going to feel it.
Oh, absolutely.
So yeah, like you can't put you can't always put it into words. You
No.
can't put the depth of it into words, I think, is
No,
maybe the way to
not at all. And I
explain it,
think the
right?
feeling is really strong because I get
Mhm.
that at like work, like with myself, with contracting and big commercial jobs and stuff like that. Like I got big crews and you do different things. And when I started out, I was working with like a lot of older guys and they don't give a shit about generally, like back then too, like they didn't care about your feelings or anything like
Mhm.
that, right? Like you're just fucking, you're here to work, you work.
Mhm.
If you're hungover, we're going to work you even harder and like that kind of attitude, right? Which is fine. And that is what it is. But now I catch myself, I get on soapboxes with my crew at work, like get in the job shack and we always have bullshit sessions either at the end of the day or in the middle of the day just to break it up. And I came up with a good one the other day, was just talking, and I catch myself kind of bitching and moaning again about where I am with career, because I never really liked that. I don't like my job. I never did like my field of career. Like my career just, I always felt like it just happened to me. And I think we
Mhm.
just talked about this a while ago, but I caught myself when I was saying that to these guys, and I got to be grateful for where I am.
Mhm.
And I said that to him, like, I apologize for saying, like, I was like, I apologize for saying that, because I always like, oh, fucking just a supervisor, or like, oh, now I'm project manager, oh, supervisor, like all these things. And I forget that I'm talking to people they're obviously, they probably feel the same way about their career. Maybe some
Mhm.
people really love it, but they're in a position a lot lower, right? And it just like, I caught myself mid sentence. I was like, fuck, sorry you guys, for like, I'm like kind of shitting on you guys, really. It's like, fuck this job and fuck these people and whatever else. Like, then I forget that, I'm still relatively young and I hit it at an extremely young age.
Mhm.
Whereas I'm pretty jaded now, as like, well, now I'm just completely devastating these people. They're like, what the fuck? Why are we even working then? Like, we
Yeah,
got
like
nothing to
you're
work to.
still in that position, so you need to hold that level of gratitude for it, because
Absolutely.
there's people who are looking up to it, right?
Oh,
They're
big
looking
time.
into it, looking forward to it.
Yeah. So as soon as I said that, I was like, oh shit, I'm sorry. And then I started talking about all the good points and I realized, like, I am where I am and I'm quite happy with it. And that's all
Yeah.
it took. And then getting a little bit of feedback from some people on that, like while we're having that conversation, and
Yeah.
completely shifted my mindset for it. And just like, wow, I really am grateful for what I have. And I know I talk about it a lot too, with just being, I always put myself down as being not the smartest person around and all these different things, and just still landing where I did in my career, and how life has played out is basically like I won the lottery, and I have to always be grateful for that. And I miss that sometimes, or I skip out on it sometimes, but in my life cycles, when I don't do that for a while, then I notice things in my life start to deteriorate. And then,
Yeah.
it ebbs and flows, but when it's down, it's because I'm not doing those things that I should be doing.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, but it really works. It really does.
Yeah. Well, and that just goes with the point that we had written down that we really want to talk about, was gratitude is perspective, and it's relative, right? Because, and you just nailed it. Because my analogy earlier was, I mean, the homeless person on the street is grateful to have a blanket and potentially like a rain jacket or some sort of shelter, right? Whereas I have found myself here too, being like, oh, I just can't wait till we move back to Alberta and we have our house that has more space in the yard, because we're so trapped in a 3-bedroom condo right now.
It sucks being warm and comfortable.
Yeah, right. But it's so, like, I don't think it's wrong that you get caught up in your own life, but it's also really good to have these reality checks where you're like, okay, yeah, I'm really grateful for what I have, because, and I was telling you, there's like that cartoon, right, where there's I think a physically disabled person, isn't it? Like looking at
I think that's where it starts.
They're in a wheelchair, I think, and they're looking at the bike rider, and they're like, "Oh, I wish that I could ride a bike." And then the bike rider's looking at the person in the car, and they're like, "I wish I had a car." And then the person in the car is like looking at the helicopter, and is like, "Oh, I wish I had a helicopter," right? And so I just think that sums it all up perfectly. Just like you said with your work, like we all seem to be wanting like the next thing, and we're forgetting about what we already have. And it's not about material things at all. It is that emotion. It's that energy.
It's 100% mindset, because you always, myself, I always think that I'll feel different, or I'll feel better once I hit a certain spot, right? Or do different things. But it's like, can't remember who says it, but it's like every level is another devil. So it doesn't matter how you where that goes in your life, if you're not okay with where you're at or in your own mindset, or you're not grateful for what you have, then making that next step up, it'll just put you in even more shambles.
Yeah.
100% it will.
Yeah. And like, let's say like with positions, like you were talking about that, right? Or with like even money in the bank, like especially right now, right? Like some of us are worried about that, and some of us don't know where the next money will come from, or, I'm just saying some of us because we're all like in very similar boats, right?
Yeah.
Like, nothing. I think that's one thing that everyone this year has learned is that nothing is for sure.
No, there's no certainty,
right?
and we're definitely not in control of anything.
Always think you have your life laid out and figured out, but then like you don't know.
No.
And so I think everyone, and I say us, like because I think every person on this planet essentially falls into that category right now. Like, I mean, I guess if you're a healthcare worker, maybe your job is secure, but even at that, like, is your health secure? Like, is your mental health secure? Like, everything, right? Like, nothing is certain. And so, just coming back down to being grateful for where we are, what we have today, because we just don't know when it's going to get taken away. And I like to always be the optimist, right? And like look at possibility and opportunity. But I just think that there's always like this baseline of like, okay, I am happy for what I have, and more is good because I can do more with more, if that makes sense. Like more money, I can give it away to more people. I can support more local businesses. I can support more charities, right? I could start. I think
that's the shift too that you need, or people. I think that's a shift you hit once you'll open yourself up to even more.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's not necessarily about wanting the more. And I don't know if I'm like contradicting myself from what I just said, but it's not necessarily wanting more. It's like being happy with what you have, and then more just opens up.
Oh, it does, because you're not just hoarding it in, or you're not being selfish or whatever that. Like, I mean, being selfish, you need that too.
Yeah.
But I understand exactly what you're saying with the money thing. Is like, I want more money for myself. Like, I don't give a fuck about a Ferrari or anything like that, but I want to be able to set up charities. I want to be able to just give back to what I know will actually work. And if money helps me do that, then great.
Yeah. Like give people that helping hand that helps them step into that spot as well. Right. Because I mean, obviously the world having good people in the world having more money is a good thing.
Oh, 100%. And this is only just magnifying that, eh? Like it really is.
And you could bring it into relationships as well, because like healthier relationships breed, healthier children, which breeds a healthier generation, right? And also if you bring that into kind of like the feminine and the masculine, like the better our relationship is, so the more I can focus on what we do have in our relationship that I love and like that I'm grateful for, the more safe I feel. And when I feel safe in our relationship, then I am more inclined to step out of my comfort zone and try new things and take risks and just do different things, right? Which then ultimately should benefit the world as well. So it's so much better or bigger than just me, right? But
absolutely, it's
within me to focus on those things first, like those feelings of gratitude, so that I can serve the world from a bit bigger place, whether that is just from my relationships, from my, like how I feel about myself, my confidence, how I love myself, what my bank account looks like, how I treat other people, like all of that. Right.
Well, it's easy for you to say when you got, this as a husband and you got this 3-bedroom kingdom that you're in. But like when I went through that depression, like, man, you could have told me that a million times. I could have listened to this over a million times. And it was like, that's awesome. But how does that affect me? Or how can I do this? Right. My life sucks. What am I going to do? And that's just, again, we need to jolt out of that. And I think you talk about it with Tony Robbins, how he talks about that. You just got to, I don't know, what is it? Like, you got to just
change your physiological state
of that, like that moment, right? Like just do something off the wall, crazy. People look at you funny, but you'll just instantly snap out of it, right?
Well, I went to that Tony Robbins event, was that 2 summers ago, and he made people do it there. So, I mean, if you've ever been to one, you know what I'm talking about, even if you've watched some of his
super
things,
physical,
you'll see. But yeah, like that's why he's always like clapping so much and so loud and so high, and he's got you jumping and like
I'd fuck around again.
yelling.
He had to get hand surgery because he clapped too much.
Yeah,
His like nerves
like
all
that,
died. Yeah. But anyway.
Yeah, and that's what he's all about. And then he did that with people because like there's like, this was in Calgary, like 2019. So yeah, like there's people who stand up and they're like, I'm so stuck in this. And like you could tell in their voice, like they have nothing to be grateful for, or so they think, right? Like they're just like had nothing to be grateful for. But he gets them like, yeah, freaking yelling something, or like I can't even remember now the things that like he had people doing there, but it was pretty cool. But you just like see the energy shift in that person. Like you see it in their face. Like I could see it in their aura. Like everything just shifts so much. I hear it in their voice. And then all of a sudden they're like, something shifts within them, like it literally jolts them, and then they can see from a different perspective, right? And that's where I say earlier, like gratitude is perspective and it's relative. But so, I mean, even when you were going through depression, yeah, I could say from this side, it was, I didn't think you felt like you had anything to be grateful for. And you may say that like you were grateful for me and Lennox, but at the same time, I don't think you were feeling it, because if you really felt it, then you would be like, life is amazing. Life is great. There's opportunity for me just around this corner.
I still can't put all that time into words, really. I know we talk about it a lot, and I think the more I talk about it, it's great. And just because for more people to realize that you're not alone by any means in that. And even knowing all the tips and tricks, it just, you got to do the work. You got to get through it no matter what, right? Like, and I think that's what frustrated me a lot in that time period too, was like, I know better, and especially having you as a wife, and like, I'm surrounded by it, and I should be extremely grateful every day, and like amazing little son, and just like all these things that were awesome, and myself knowing it and doing the work, and not like knowing all the, like reading the books and doing everything. But if you're not feeling it, or if you're not really doing that work, then it's all for naught. It doesn't matter, right? It's like anything, like sports or whatever, like even podcasting. You can have all the best gear known to man, but if you're not using it properly or not doing any of it, then it doesn't matter, right? You can have that $1,200 pair of skates, but if you don't actually put them on and go skating, you're not going to be a great hockey player or whatever, right? So I know that was the big one for me, and I kept beating myself up because like, fuck, you know better, you do better. And then I was making it even worse. But when I just slow down, be grateful for you guys, and have some really good talks with you, it really puts everything in perspective, and realize what you do have. And it's amazing. It really is.
But I mean, and everyone has something, right? Because even if you don't have a family and you don't have children yet, you don't have a partner yet, bringing it, I think like the key to gratitude is bringing it right back down to the basics, like your breath, right? Like you can find beauty in anything. And I guess someone could challenge me on saying that, well, what if I don't even want to be alive? Why would I be grateful for my breath? Well, I think that would spark a different conversation for sure. Something that's like a bit more personalized. But in general, for the person who's just feeling like, ugh, life kind of sucks right now, right? Like I have nothing to look forward to. It's like, okay, yes, because all you're looking out right now and seeing is all the shitty things that have happened to you. Like if you've just gone through a loss, or you just lost your job, or you just lost a position, or you lost a family member, or something where you're really struggling and hurting, of course, that's what you're going to feel. That's what you're going to see. That's the energy, that's the feeling, the frequency that you're living in, right? So just being able to shift your focus into one little thing that you're grateful for, and then pouring more into that cup continually, it's going to eventually overflow, and then you'll start to see more things and more things and more things. So like literally, like my recommendation would be to get out for a nature walk, like go out into nature and just look at the miracle of life, like trees, be in the energy of trees, look at the sky, look at the sun, listen to the birds, watch the squirrels, watch the water flow, like just sit on a riverbank and watch the river flow. Like being in that energy, I mean, the energy itself is so healing, but also like you can just start to see like, wow, this is a real miracle. I'm a miracle, right? And then you just start to find something that you can buy into. And I will say buy into, because like you have to buy into it. That's what you were just saying, right? But
and it's not saying all that other stuff is like, feel that, be in it, but definitely that's the way to shift, I think.
You mean as far as your loss and your struggle?
Yeah, 100%.
Oh yeah, you can't bypass that. Like
Yeah.
you definitely have to feel it, and you need to process all of that and then move through it. But at the same time, I think there's hope. Like you can, I think some people, and I know like myself, and obviously you, like we've struggled with this, where you can get caught in something and just keep repeating it, or
Oh,
like
yeah.
living it out day, but like with your depression, right? Like days turn into
It's
weeks,
like
and then weeks
fucking
turn into
Groundhog
months,
Day.
and then,
Yeah. It's
and
wild.
then years. So it's like there's a difference between like being in your struggle for the pockets of the days where that grief comes to you or that pain comes to you, but then you move through it, like you surrender into it, you allow yourself to feel it, and then you move through it. But if you're like, I'm talking about like if you're really stuck in it, right? And you need some help, that's kind of how you can start looking at how you can be more grateful to pull you out of that. But I mean, every day we should be more grateful, because bringing this back into relationship stuff, like it's so easy to go about your day just saying like, oh, thanks, hun. But like, did you mean that?
Yeah,
Like,
that's true.
that's not a feeling, right? Like that's just a word that came out of your mouth, right? Like how often do you actually like slow down and look your partner in the eye and say like, hey, thanks. I really appreciate you doing that. That's really helpful. Like that really helps me get this done sooner so I can relax. Or,
Right.
you know, really expressing how and why you're grateful. And I think that that creates a lot more emotion frequency, right? And it just changes. It changes the whole like energy of the relationship, but it begins over time to change that the dynamic in your relationship, right? Because you may be thinking too, and I always say this, but you're like, well, my partner is not very grateful for things that I do. Okay, but how grateful are you for what they do? So you start being the way shower, right? Like you start being very grateful and expressing your gratitude, and then just see how things unfold, right? People like to be told that they're loved. They like to be shown that they're loved. They like to feel seen and heard. And so expressing your gratitude to your partner really expands that. And then, I mean, they want to give it back to you, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And it goes for anyone. Like we were talking about this earlier too, just in the world right now. I mean, we're in masks or like divided by plastic, and there's just so much division, right?
Yeah.
And so much fear and so much anxiety, and the energy out in the world is just like crazy. We just went shopping today and I was like, I'm so anxious. I just need to get back into my bubble. But I forgot, like, and I even said to you, right? Like, so this is a practice, because like we talk about this stuff a lot, but even still, I was like, if I'm wearing a mask, I feel like even if I'm not wearing a mask, if I'm not wearing a mask, I feel like I'm not very like smiley and nice to people, because I feel like they're looking at me being like, why doesn't she have a mask on? And then if I have a mask on, I'm like, you can't even see me anyways, and I can't hear you and you can't hear me, and this is really weird, and I just want to get out of here and I just want to go home. And so like that is not expressing the energy or like the frequency that I want to be expressing, right? So I have to, like, this is brand new for so many of us, right? Like I have to sink into like, okay, just continue to like express my gratitude to that teller or to that cashier and say like, thanks for doing your job. Thanks for helping me, and being like extra nice and really expressing things a little bit extra, right? To create that ripple effect, because you really don't know like what effect you do have on a person and how that's going to change their whole day. And that could be your partner, that could be your children, that could be, you know, the person that's walking their dog past you down the street. Like, just showing kindness, but then also expressing like your gratitude.
I think you nailed it with the kids too. I think that's a big one during this time with our kids, that we be that support. I know we're all kids, but I know we've never been through this. So everyone's nervous, scared, anxious, whatever, right? Fear. But I mean, our kids, they obviously have not seen anything like this. And we have to be there for them. We have to be strong for them. And I know there's a lot of people that talk about it, is like, you know, when we look back on this and your kids look back on it, it's like, how did your family handle it? How did your parents handle it? What was the house like, right? And again, just killing them with kindness, killing them with love, and I think that's going to go a long ways, and it'll create some crazy wild memories or good memories of what this was, right? And we can break that cycle and then carry that on.
Yeah.
Because I could only I talk about it lots where I feel so bad for a lot of the households right now. Like if you're in an abusive house or abusive relationship, like I mean, going to work used to be a reprieve. Kids going to school was a reprieve, but now you're fucking stuck in that house. And I say abuse generally from the male side of, maybe he lost his job now too, and then now he's even angrier and there's nowhere to go, and it's just like, fuck, no one's talking about those people. It's like, that's what's scary to me. So if we can help show some love and maybe brighten that day, maybe make that, just.
Well, yeah, you just never know what someone's going through.
No,
right?
you don't know what they're going through. You don't know what your effect has on them. So you being positive in their life while they're dealing with so much shittiness might just be that catalyst that they needed to leave or be stronger or do something, right? So there's so many ripple effects and butterfly effects that I think that the more love and the more gratitude we can show, it's only going to help brighten the world.
Yeah. And I think just like everything we ever talk about, it starts with you, right?
You have to, yeah.
Where are you grateful for first yourself?
Yeah, like take care of this house, right?
Yeah, like grateful for your body. What does your body allow you to do? Like your breath, your eyesight, your hearing, your smell, your digestive system, like everything about your body, but even like looking at it, like love your body, show it gratitude, move it, give it clean water, give it clean food, and show gratitude, right? Like that's a feeling, show that. And then from there, it ripples out into how are you treating the people within your house, like your children, your partner, like we said, like slowing down and making a conscious choice to be like, thank you, like, and tell them why, right?
Yeah, massively.
Like, I think why really ties in the emotion, which then helps you feel it and emit that frequency. And then from there, when you leave your house, where are you radiating that gratitude? And I'll recommend sometimes too to clients that are getting into this state of being more grateful, like set a timer on your phone or a reminder on your phone. And when that timer goes off or that sound goes off, you have to, like, you stop and you got to look around and just find like a handful of things that you're grateful for, but sink into why you're grateful for them. Because I think that the more you do those types of things throughout the day, you're training your mind now to look for things that you're grateful for. And then the more that your mind's out there looking for things that you're grateful for, is you're looking for opportunity. And especially in times like this right now, when your mind is more, going to be more tend to want to lean more to the lack, right? Because that's what we're fed every direction you look, essentially outside of yourself. If you're looking for what you're grateful for, then that's opportunity, that's possibility. And the more that you're focusing on that, the more you're attracting possibility to you. And I think it's cool because it's literally like magic. It's not magic, it's energy, but it acts like magic because you may be in this state of like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't have a job. I don't know where the money will come from, or my job could go away, or this could happen, or that could happen. And you're living in that state to all of a sudden shifting to like, oh my God, look at how much stuff I have, like, or how much stuff I have to be grateful for. It's not about the stuff, but look at what I have to be grateful for. And now all of a sudden it's like this window opened up and you're like, I have a job opportunity, or I got a raise. And so I'm here thinking I'm going to lose my job, but I got a raise, or just things like that, right? My partner and I were frustrated with each other and we were going in opposite directions, but because I focused on how much I am grateful for him and I let him know, and just my actions showed it and my energy shifted with him. Now he's tuned back more into me, and now we're actually a team instead of working separately, and our house feels safe and our kids are less, acting out less. And it just shifts so much stuff.
Oh, big time. And Lennox is a great barometer for us. Like if we're off, or I know myself, he senses that and he acts like, then he starts to act out or does weird shit, right? But then when everything's cool, we're cool, the house is cool, everything's good, it's just like he's just even keel, right? It's a great judgment of that, or a great shower of that, I suppose. And again, if you don't have kids, even with your partner, right? Like I know myself, I play off you a ton. Like it's definitely not I'm working on it, and I want to not be as much of I don't know what, like, I guess it is codependent or whatever you want to call it, right? In the sense of, like, if you're down, then I use that as an excuse, like, fuck, she's down, I might as well be down. Or not might as well. It's like, oh shit, then just use an excuse, or if like we're being lazy. I know we used to do this a lot, where it's like we'll kind of look at each other like, oh, should we get pizza? And you're like, look. And it's like, yeah, fuck it, let's do it.
Just sabotage.
Just sabotaging, right? Big time. But I know if you're like, as long as you take care of yourself, and I know that's what I've been repeating all the time, and that's generally the underlying thing behind everything we talk about is if you're okay, you're going to project that to your partner. If you're feeling good, project it out. It's just you'll be happy, kids will be happy, everyone's happy.
Well, then coming back again to that personal responsibility, if you're taking care of yourself and you're feeling good and you're feeling that gratitude, if you are having a down moment, I can hold that space, or vice versa, right? And hold that space of what I know we want, not what I'm just waiting for you to sink into so I can sink into, right? So it's like, pizza tonight? No, we're not having pizza tonight.
Stuff
right?
a fucking bunch of kale in your face. Eat this.
Right.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, you're just able, when you take care of yourself, and that includes gratitude, then you are able to uplift the people around you, no matter what the circumstances are, right?
Yeah, no,
I mean,
like it.
Some people might look at you and be like, oh yeah, you're that ray of fucking sunshine, and I can't handle you right now because you're just too much light for the dark that I'm in right now. But still, I mean, you do have an impact on everyone around you. So do you have anything else to share on that, or should we share kind of our challenge and tools for the week and wrap this up?
Yeah, no, I think that's it. Like not it. We can talk for days on this, but yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. So we just wrote down a couple things that we thought would be good to put out there for you guys. Cause I mean, it's all fine and dandy to sit here for 30 minutes and be like, oh yeah, gratitude. Yeah, it's great. Yep. We should do some more of that.
Makes your life instantly better. Don't worry about it.
But like, unless you go implement it, right? Unless you take it into your life and integrate it into who you are and what you're doing. I mean, it's the buzzword.
It is. And I guess for guys like listening to this, or women too, like I know it sounds so airy fairy and out there, and you're just fucking this weird hippie or whatever you want to talk about it, or however you want to call it, but this shit fucking works. Like, I don't know, I couldn't be a bigger fucking Neanderthal on, I guess, both sides. I'm a little bit of everything, I guess, but like, I would say, like, fuck off. That's just airy fairy, get to work, or let's go have a beer kind of thing. But the stuff is real.
Let's go numb our feelings.
Let's go numb our feelings like normal people and not talk about this. But no, it really does. Like, you hit it head on and be that person. And it's fucking awesome. And the people around you and the conversations you have afterwards or during, and you just be positive, and you don't have to dump into all the negativity. Like, every fucking conversation I have with the people, like I see people every day. Obviously I have a big job site, and there's always people everywhere, and it's so easy, small talk, and it just instantly gets negative, and you're like, fuck man, let's talk about something good.
Isn't it funny how people are so programmed to automatically go to the negative? Like,
100%. If it's fucking like, weather, or
how are you today? Fine.
Yeah, another fucking day. And then every morning till like 9 o'clock or 9 a.m. I have my like, hey, morning. Oh yeah, how you doing today? Well, it's too early to fucking tell, but something will happen. Like, it's just nonstop, right?
And I think that it's good you bring this up because, and we said this, but I think it's good to highlight it one more time, that this isn't about like bypassing the pain and the hurt, because we are all about like the shadow work and
you gotta hit it head on,
and going into the shitty stuff and the dark stuff. It's not about like just sweeping that under the rug. But this is just a mindset, right? Like, you got to deal with your shit, but you don't have to stay in your shit, and you're allowed to welcome opportunity and possibility. So anyways, we don't have to go back over all that. We already did it. So, I think, and we didn't really touch on this part though. So just very quickly, because this is part of one of the challenges, we were talking about this time in our life, like this uncertainty of this pandemic, and it just everything that's going on in the world right now, economically, emotionally, mentally, just worldwide. What have been the pros? Because we know that it's so easy to say what hasn't gone good and what we didn't like, or how our life's been affected in a negative way. But if we were to actually sink into quickly what it has been a positive impact, we can be grateful for that, because it's like we've slowed down.
Slowed down massively. And I think most people I talk to have realized what's important in their life and what's not important. I think that's the biggest one. I mean, it's a good purge. It's a good just look around. Yeah. And you can see what's important, and you see most, what do you call it? like nobody's really concerned about their fancy sports cars or anything like that. Like they just want to be able to go get groceries and get home, right? Like no one cares about all the superficial shit.
Have Christmas or be with your family.
Can't even hug your grandma or something, right? Like people
Can't
are
even see your grandma. Yeah, that's
so
a shitty subject. But.
That exactly. But no, there is a lot of positives, and it's things to look at to realize like, holy shit, the stuff you do take for granted too, that's just not there anymore.
So it's like a huge reevaluation of your values.
Massively,
right?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, we could talk more on what we're really grateful for. I mean, this has created a lot of opportunity for us, but we're not going to go into that. That's just a part of the challenge for this week, is really to take a few moments to sit back. And if you are listening to this with your partner, like have that discussion, because it's a really good bonding experience. But if you're listening to this by yourself, or if you want to ask your partner some questions, just really allow yourself to sink into like, okay, the past, what are we at? 11? No, like 10, 9 months, right? March.
I think it was March is when shit hit the fan. Yeah.
Yeah. So like over this past year, what have you learned about yourself? What are you grateful for? Right? Like where has life gotten better? And there will be something. I mean, I know even people who have lost their jobs, or like bank accounts are draining, or relationships are ending, they're able to actually look back at that and be like, well, I can see the blessing in it because I wasn't meant to be there. I was doing a soul sucking job, or I got laid off because the job ended, the position ended because of the situation we're in. But that gave me the boost to go and do this thing that I've been putting off because I was in my comfort zone. Right.
Yes,
so
yes.
There's always something to be grateful for, or I'm not even going to keep listing things. And then the other thing that we had said was, do you want to feel more grateful for your partner? Like, do you want to sink deeper into that? And if you do, what could you do? Like, what does that look like? What could you do this week to express more gratitude, to show more gratitude, to feel more gratitude towards your partner? And
it's just, we take it for granted so much, eh? I know, especially on the men's side of things, or most men, they just completely take it for granted. It's like, well, fuck, I married her. Not happy or what?
Yeah. And I think too, when you lose people in your life, you realize that none of us are guaranteed our timeline here.
Oh,
right?
no. God, no. I think that's the biggest lesson around, right? Like, you don't know what's going to happen at all. Fuck, I'm scared this building's going to fall apart if another train goes by.
But that's the thing, especially with our partners, we just like, you might leave the house angry because you're like, well, I'll see them when they come back. But then, I mean, God forbid that's when they get in a car accident or have that heart attack, or, something terrible happens. And so again, being grateful, how often are you expressing that gratitude? How often are you feeling that gratitude? Because we're never guaranteed our time. You don't know when the last time you're going to see that person is. Like, and I know, like, I'll just take for granted, like, you're going to be here tomorrow. You'll be here next week. You'll be here next year. Like, we're going to die when we're like 99, and we're going to go to bed together, and we're just not going to wake up in the morning. Like, that's how I think our life's going to go. But at the same time, like, okay, well, maybe not.
Right.
So I don't, like, if you weren't here tomorrow, I'd be devastated, obviously. But like, what would I want you to know? What would I want you to feel? And I think that so many of us are just putting it off for when we feel better, when life gets better, when, this happens and that happens.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, no, all you have is right now. So what are you grateful for? Who are you grateful for? Go tell them. Send them a message. Give them a call. Give them a hug if they're in your bubble.
There you go. Well, on that note,
give them a virtual hug. I got to stop.
Okay. Perfect. No, I like that. Yeah. Like I say, on that note, that's awesome. I really like that.
And let us know how that goes. Shoot us a message. Let us know how that goes.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that. And I like the setting a timer. That's a good one. I do like that on your phone. Just a quick
sinking into gratitude,
quick little alarm, and just look around and then carry on. It'll feel weird at first, but after a while, you'll probably just, it'll just flow.
Yeah. And one thing I'm going to add to that, we're terrible at ending. We got to get way better at ending. Send a message to somebody, like your partner, middle of the day, random, just one thing you're grateful for about them. Tell them you love them. Just something super randomly. It makes like a huge difference in their life, in their day, right?
Oh, yeah.
And it's something so little. It's something so little, but it creates that ripple effect. So anyways, peace.
Like it. Okay. Well, I love you. Extremely grateful for you.
I love you too.
Love you guys. Extremely grateful for you guys. Thank you. And I'll see you next week.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. Find us on social media at LaRocque Life Podcast and online at LaRocqueLife.com. Ladies, find Laura on social media at Laura LaRocque and online at LauraLaRocque.com. Have a request for a show topic? We love that. Send us an email at michael@LaRocqueLife.com or DM at LaRocque Life Podcast. And don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review.